Sorry. Good afternoon, friends. Shall we start? We have only 28 now. நேற்று எவ்வளோ பேர் பண்ணாங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் செஷனில்? இல்லை. Okay. So, any doubt with respect to yesterday's content? No. Okay. So today we'll start with the environmental organizations. Already we briefly introduced about how it evolved. Okay, like only after the Stockholm conference, the international community took these environmental issues more seriously. Yes, without doubt. Yes, Priya. Relation between seabed treaty and UNCLOS. So UNCLOS is different. Seabed treaty is different. So UNCLOS, the purpose of UNCLOS, actually we are going to discuss about UNCLOS in coming class, probably next week. So the United Nations Convention on Law of Sea. So this is simply called UNCLOS. Very important for our UPSC. And the purpose of this UNCLOS is to demarcate boundary, to fix maritime boundaries, okay, and to address the issues related to maritime boundaries across the world. And this is a universal treaty accepted almost all the countries except United States. So US is not accepting this, okay, because of some clauses, some provisions, they are against the economic sovereignty of United States. So they are not accepted this treaty. Some of the provisions, like say for example, this treaty is saying beyond 200 nautical mile, okay, from coast it is called high seas. So these high seas are common to all. But US is saying, see, whatever resources you are taking from high seas, it should be shared. Okay, so this is one of the provision in UNCLOS, but US is against that. Okay, so there are some controversies. But anyway, purpose of UNCLOS and seabed treaty is different. Okay. So next, this one, international environmental organizations. Okay, so Priya, thank you. See, I think we discussed briefly about this one, United Nations Conference on Human Environment. This is simply called Stockholm Conference. Okay. And that resulted in establishment of United Nations Environment Program. See, in 1972 summit, actually it was first summit, and it led to establishment of United Nations Environment Program. And United Nations Environment Program will be a global nodal agency for addressing all global environmental issues. Okay, so under UNEP, there are so many treaties and conventions signed. And apart from that, some funds, okay, some funds are created under United Nations Environment Program. Funds also created. The funds are contributed by international community, and it is administered by United Nations Environment Program. Okay. See, under United Nations Environment Program, okay, the major developments I will explain. Okay, major developments, that is in 1985. See, first major environmental issue during 1960s and 70s was ozone depletion. Due to emission of ozone depleting substances, ODS, ozone depleting substances. Any example for ozone depleting substances? Any idea? Ozone depleting substances. What are the substances that are depleting ozone? Wow, super. CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. Okay. So chlorofluoro is not greenhouse gases much, but the primary culprit, primary pollutant is CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. This CFC emission because of this refrigeration and the AC. So 1960s and 70s there was again overuse of these items, so that led to emission of CFC and other chemicals. So that led to ozone depletion. So ozone depletion was the major issue because the rate of ozone depletion was very high during early 80s. Okay, early 80s, the rate of depletion was very high. So they decided to address this issue first. See, there are two types of environmental issues. One is local environmental issue. Second one is global environmental issue. Local issue can be addressed by the respective government. So, for example, in Chennai, if we have solid waste management issue, Chennai Corporation will take care of this. Tamil Nadu government will take care. Okay, and say for example, if we have water pollution in Kaveri, River Kaveri or Tamarabarni, it is responsible of Tamil Nadu government. For that, you no need to expect any global cooperation. Okay, and if you have any other local environmental issues, the respective local government or national government can take action, appropriate action. Whereas this ozone depletion, it is a global problem. Okay, it is not a local issue. It is a global problem. So actually, the developed countries, they emitted more. So if you take the entire world, northern part of hemisphere, northern hemisphere consists of mostly all developed countries like US, Europe, Japan, China. All these, not China, but China still they are claiming they are developing state, but actually to some extent it can be considered as developed country only. So all developed countries are in northern hemisphere, and southern hemisphere all poor states. Okay, but what happened due to the geographical problem that you will have detailed discussion in your environment class. The ozone depleting substances which was emitted in northern hemisphere accumulated in the southern hemisphere above Antarctic region and all, and that led to ozone depletion, and the rate of ozone depletion was very high. It was the peak time during early 80s and all. So the international scientific community, they realized that this is the global problem, and for that they need global cooperation. So 1985 accordingly, an international convention was signed to address the problem of ozone depletion. Okay, so any idea what was the convention signed in 1985? It was the first major convention under United Nations Environment Program. Can you say the name of the convention? Anyone? What is the convention? First convention. It was a major step towards protecting ozone layer. Okay. No one responded. Okay. See, the first convention was Vienna Convention. Vienna Convention. So the Vienna Convention, which was signed in 1985. Basically, you should understand there is a difference between a convention and protocol. Convention and protocol. Convention means it is just an initiative and the provisions or guidelines are not binding. Okay, convention means just an initiative. That's the first step towards particular goal or aim. Okay, in this document, whatever guidelines given or what are the tasks or what are the goals are given, all these guidelines or goals or tasks are not binding. Not binding means it is not compulsory. It is not compulsory. Okay, but protocol is, it is protocol, as name itself says, it is compulsorily binding. Once if you accept the protocol, it is compulsorily binding. Convention means even if you are accepting a convention and if you are violating the convention, violating in the sense if you are not following the convention, there will not be any consequence. But protocol means it is compulsorily committed, it is mandatory, it is binding nature. So in 1985, Vienna Convention was signed. The purpose of Vienna Convention is to protect ozone layer. Also, that is to reduce the emission of ODS, ozone depleting substances. 1985 it was signed, but when the international community signed this Vienna Convention, they thought that there will be some developments and there will be some response for Vienna Convention. But as expected, there was no proper response because it is a convention, so you cannot force them to follow. So what happened 2 years later, okay, under the same convention, okay, under Vienna Convention, a protocol was signed. The protocol is called Montreal Protocol in 1987. 1987. Aswin Sriram, he is asking, protocol is binding in nature. Yes, it is binding in nature, protocol. So in environmentally, we have so many protocols like Cartagena Protocol, Nagoya Protocol, Kyoto Protocol, Montreal Protocol. There are many protocols. Okay, all are binding. Convention means it is not binding. Okay. See, in 1987, this one in 1985, then 2 years later, 1987, Montreal was signed. Since this is the protocol, it is binding nature, and slowly so many countries accepted this Montreal Protocol. Once if you are accepting, then you have to take measures to reduce production and usage and emission of ozone depleting substances. So there are some guidelines given, there are some targets given, so you have to achieve the target. So within this year, you have to reduce this much. So that kind of targets were given. So you have to achieve all the targets. Okay, and Montreal Protocol slowly it reached universality. That is, all countries have accepted. Okay, including United States, all have accepted Montreal Protocol. And because of that, slowly, because the ozone depletion is the major issue or major reason for global warming. As you know, like ozone layer is protecting incoming UV rays, and because of this depletion of ozone layer, direct UV rays that led to heating of lower atmosphere. So it was a major concern for global environmental scientific community. And the Montreal Protocol signed in 1987 that led to reduction of ozone depleting substance emissions, and gradually the emission reduced to maximum extent. Then I think in 2014 or 15, a study was conducted by United Nations Environment Program with the support of global scientific community, and they found that actually a report was published in 15, I think. They found that ozone layer is gradually coming to its normal position. That is, it is coming to pre-1980 level. 1980 was the peak of ozone depletion, I mentioned, no? So gradually it is returning to pre-1980 level. So how the ozone layer was before 1980, to same level it is coming. Gradually it is returning. So what do you mean? That is only because of Montreal Protocol, now the ozone layer is protected. That is the reason this Montreal Protocol is, see why it is reached this much success means there are two reasons. One is this is protocol, the second one is it achieved universality. It is accepted by all the countries. Okay, so because of these two reasons, it became world's most successful environmental treaty. So if you ask which is the most successful environmental agreement or environmental treaty, this is Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol. Okay. Any doubt with respect to ozone depletion and all? The next is in continuation with the same thing. Under Montreal Protocol in 2017, there was another major development. In 2017, an amendment was introduced to Montreal Protocol. Okay, originally Montreal Protocol is saying the Montreal Protocol will target only CFCs, okay, chlorofluorocarbons. But in 2017, through an amendment, one more ozone depleting substance was introduced. That is not much important ODS, and the level of depletion is very less when compared to CFC. Okay, but that potential chemical is creating global warming because what is the chemical? One is CFC and one is HFC. See, first is chlorofluorocarbon, then hydrofluorocarbon. See, this HFC, this is not much important ozone depleting polluting agent, but it is most responsible for global warming. Its basic character of the HFC is it will trap the heat. You know the global warming, right? Global warming is very simple, like incoming solar radiation. So it is a short wave radiation. Easily it is passing through atmosphere and it is reaching Earth's surface. While returning back as a terrestrial radiation, it is trapped by some greenhouse gases. The basic character of greenhouse gases are it will capture, it will trap this heat, which is considered as terrestrial radiation. So incoming, see, you know that Earth is reflecting almost all the radiations. Most of the radiations are reflected back. So while going back, these greenhouse gases are capturing this heat. So that's the reason the lower atmosphere of Earth, only lower atmosphere, it is heated very much. Okay. So one of the potential agent or potential gas is HFC. The dangerous element of HFC is once if you emit this HFC into atmosphere, among all the gases, it has longest lifespan. Okay, easily it will not dissolve. So HFCs are most potential gas for this one global warming, and it is not directly not much impacting on this one ozone layer. So if the HFC to be eliminated, it should be put under any one of the universally accepted environmental agreement. So which is the most universally accepted environmental treaty? That is Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol objective is to eliminate ozone depleting substances. And why they want to eliminate ODS? Because that led to ozone depletion. Why ozone depletion is problem? Because of this global warming. So they put this HFC into Montreal Protocol. For that, they need to amend. They have to change. They have to make some changes in the Montreal Protocol. So that changes happened in 2017 in the capital city of Rwanda. That is Kigali. Okay, Kigali. So that is called Kigali Agreement. Kigali Agreement, or also called the Kigali Amendment. Either Kigali Agreement or Kigali Amendment. Very, very important. That is related to the addition of adding HFC into Montreal Protocol. Okay. So this is the first major development under United Nations Environment Program. 1980s. 1980s. First they tried to address the major issue, global major issue, that was ozone depletion. And I already yesterday mentioned, like in 1960s itself, the international scientific community, they found like there is a Rwanda, not Uganda. Mageshwar, it is Rwanda. And why today no one is coming with video? Okay. If you are interested, please come. Please switch on your video, otherwise no problem. Okay. See, this is the development in 1985, 87 and all. Okay. Under United Nations Environment Program. Wow, super. Someone came and disconnected. Okay. And next is the next development. Okay. In the same 1980s. In 1980s, another summit was conducted under United Nations. Okay. Under United Nations, summit was conducted. So in that summit, they wanted to review the developments which took place for the past 1 decade after 1972. And in this summit, new concept was emerged. Actually, a report was published in 1987 summit. That report name is called Our Common Future. Very, very important terminology. Our Common Future. Who submitted this report? She is from Scandinavia. I think she was a president of Norway or Sweden. Okay, she is from Scandinavia. She was the head of the state. Under her leadership, this committee was appointed. The committee, this Brundtland Committee. Okay, Brundtland Committee submitted a report. So it is called Brundtland Report. Brundtland Report. And this Brundtland Report only proposed a new concept called sustainable development. Sustainable development. Someone asked, could you please repeat why Montreal Agreement was successful? First is protocol. Second one is universality. That is, it is a protocol, and same time it was accepted by all the countries, all members of United Nations, all the countries of the world almost. Okay. Okay. So sustainable development. What do you mean by sustainable development? Can you text me? Sustainable development. Sustainable development. Any idea? What do you mean? See, now everywhere, if we take newspaper, every human development without affecting environment. Okay, super. Without reducing resources, we have development. We have to develop. Development with resources for future generation. Super. Okay. Someone from Kumaraguru is good. And saving future without compromising needs of today. Yeah, great. Sustainable means taking consideration of our resources for future. It means apart from our consumption, we should preserve some resources for future generation. Yes, great. It is very simple. Meeting the needs of present generation without compromising the needs of future generation. Okay, so this concept was introduced by Brundtland report in 1987. Okay, this is the major development. Okay, and with that, the concept of sustainable development and all, it was not taken much seriously during 1980s. Then, almost 20 years after the Stockholm Conference, to review the development of Stockholm Conference, another meeting was conducted that is called as, please write the name, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. Okay, United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. 1992. It was conducted in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So it is simply called the Rio Conference. Rio Conference, are also called Earth Summit. Earth Summit are also called Rio Conference. 1992. Very important development in the environmental history or environmental organization's history. Okay. Earth Summit or Rio Conference or Rio Summit or United Nations Conference on Environmental Development. So what was the development in the Rio Conference? See, only in Rio Conference it was accepted, and before that itself the scientific community established. What they established? See, in 1960s and 70s and all, the international scientific community, they observed there is a change in climatological pattern across the world. Okay, and they observed like there was increasing of lower atmosphere temperature. Okay, and originally the international scientific community, they assumed, okay, they thought like the increasing of temperature and changing of climatological pattern may be due to natural phenomena. Okay, natural. See, if you take the climatological history of Earth, okay, so every 10,000 years once or every million years of once, okay, million years once, there will be change in climatological pattern. Okay, so sometimes there may be icy age, and again there may be thawing. Okay, that is melting of ice age. Then there may be another cycle. Okay, so the international scientific community, they thought like only because of natural process and natural cycle, this changing pattern is taking place. They assumed like that. But further studies conducted, continuously they conducted studies, and later only they established scientifically, they proved scientifically the changing nature of climatological pattern across the world and the global warming is not due to natural process. This is due to anthropogenic factors or man-made factors. Okay, what is man-made? Mainly burning of fossil fuel. Burning of fossil fuel is the major reason for this global warming. That global warming is leading to climate change. So this one was established in 1980s scientifically. Scientifically it was proved. So along with the ozone depletion, this is also a major issue. Now for ozone depletion, almost they addressed. Okay, but for global warming and climate change, till 1992, there was no any proper mechanism. Okay, so in Rio conference, it was elaborately discussed and it was concluded like under United Nations Environment Program. Please note it. Under United Nations Environment Program, a convention to be established. The convention to be established. That convention will deal with global climatic change issues. Okay. So same like the Vienna Convention. Okay. So under United Nations Environment Program, a convention to be established. It should be created, and this convention will address, through this convention, we will address issue related to climate change. Accordingly, this convention was signed. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It was signed in 1992. Accepted in 1992 Rio Conference. Superb question. How do the places for summits agreements are determined? Is it random or is there any concept behind this? See, if you have any plan of international tour, I will suggest first you list out all the international summits places, particularly the UNFCCC and the G7 and G20. If you take all the summit places, then it will be the best places in the world to this destination. Okay, now I hope you understood. Okay. So under UNEP, a convention to be established under global. Yes. So United Nations Environment Program is the global organization. It's an international organization. Okay. So under UNEP, this convention was established. This convention was signed in 1992. 1992. Okay. So this one, in 1992, this convention was signed. And apart from this, one more convention was signed in the same thing, same summit, that is Convention on Biological Diversity. That is to protect biological diversity. Another convention was signed. It is simply called CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity. Okay. And next, one more convention, United Nations Convention for Combating Desertification. This is also initiated in 1992. Not signed, but initiated. Okay, United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. Desertification. Okay. What do you mean by desertification? Any idea? Desertification is another major global environmental issue. Not only local, it is a global issue. What do you mean by desertification? Deforestation, okay. Drying up of water bodies, deforestation and degradation, exploiting all water resources, okay. Complete conversion into dry land, okay, loss of fertile land. So actually, desert soils are fertile only. A place which is unfit to live. No. See, due to man-made activities in arid and semi-arid region, arid and semi-arid. So, automatically default, there will be very less rainfall. Okay, arid and semi-arid region. If desert-like conditions or desert-like landfalls are extended, okay, along with the this one existing dry region, due to man-made activities, if this phenomenon is extended, then this is called desertification. So we want to combat, we want to fight against this. Okay, so that is also signed in this one. And another important thing is Agenda 21. Agenda 21, a global plan of action for sustainable development. So under Agenda 21, that is Agenda 21 means Agenda for 21st century. The meaning of 21 is for 21st century. So what is the agenda? In Rio Summit, it was defined under Agenda 21, there should be 3 levels of action plans for sustainable development. There should be, already UPSC asked a question 2 times about Agenda 21. I'm saying about the recent years. Okay, Agenda 21 is, this is 3 levels of action plans for sustainable development. One is global level, then national level, then local level. Global level, national level, and local level. So 3 levels of action plans for sustainable development. Sustainable development. Okay. So these are the major outcomes of Rio Summits. So outcomes of Rio Summits. What is the first outcome? UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It's the first outcome. What is the second outcome? Convention on Biological Diversity. Third one, United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. Fourth one, Agenda 21. Okay. So these are the major outcomes of Rio Summit. Rio Summit. Sometimes it can be a question. Which of the following is or not outcome of Rio Summit? Simply they can ask. Okay. So these are the major outcomes of Rio Summit. Now we will discuss one by one. The first major outcome was UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Okay. So this is the convention. You know the meaning of convention. Convention means it is just an initiative and not binding. Just an initiative and not binding. See, even though this convention was initiated in 1992, according to this convention, not only this, generally if you take any international agreement, first it should be accepted by, it should be signed by majority of countries. So for example, 2 countries have signed, okay? Only just 5 countries have signed on agreement. Can this agreement implemented? No, it cannot be implemented. First, at least in principle, majority of countries should accept, should agree for implementing one agreement. Then only it will be implemented. Then only that agreement will come into effect, come into force. Not only this, if you take anything, for example, NPT and CTBT also, we are waiting because 9 more to be ratified. Okay. So here, even though it was signed in 1992, according to this convention to be accepted by minimum 30 countries. Accordingly, in 1994, AC off பண்ணியா அந்த ஏசி போட்டுக்கலாம் ரொம்ப சில்லுன்னு இருக்கு ஏசி ஏசி ஆஃப் பண்ணி அது ஓடும் இல்லை அந்த ஏசி இது கொஞ்சம் ஆஃப் பண்ணிடலாமே ரொம்ப சில்லுன்னு. See, according to this convention, it should be ratified by minimum 30 countries. Then only this convention will come into effect. So accordingly, it was accepted only in 1994. So UNFCCC came into effect only in 1994. 1994. Sir, once show the Agenda 21 slide. This is Agenda 21. Okay. Agenda 21, this is the 3 levels of action plan for sustainable development. One is global level, national level and local level. That is called Agenda for 21st century. Okay. Next. So this convention entered into force in 1994 and this one, mask energy. So 1994 it was signed and it was implemented. Okay. So according to this UNFCCC, the major commitment is every year annual summit to be conducted. Okay, according to this conference, every year annual summit to be conducted. Okay, compulsorily annual summit to be conducted, and this annual summit will be conducted by conference of parties. It will be conducted by conference of parties. Conference of parties means like whoever participating. The name itself says conference of parties. Who are all parties? Members are called parties. Okay, so they will conduct annual summit. So this is called the COP, Conference of Parties. So accordingly, in 1995, first COP was conducted in Berlin, Germany. Please don't write this and all. They will not ask question. So 1995, first COP was conducted for UNFCCC. Okay, United Nations Conference. Sorry, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And this in this first COP, okay, in 1995, there was no major development. Okay. And second COP 1996, again no major development. And the third COP3, Conference of Parties 3, third Conference of Parties, which was conducted in 1997 in Kyoto, so major city in Japan. Kyoto, host city of this third COP. So in the third COP, what was the major development? I hope now you would have assumed. Any idea what is the development in COP? Exactly, super, Archana. Kyoto Protocol, super. Kyoto Protocol on global warming. Another question is annual. Since every steps are taken for human welfare, why every proposal can be made as protocol? See, even though it is taken for, very good question. Since every steps are taken for human welfare, why every protocol can be made as protocol? Every proposal. See, even though it is taken for welfare of this one, human society, but there are some business interests, there are some political interests, it will be affected because of this decision. Okay, say for example, you know that it is the ozone depleting substances, CFC or major pollutant of ozone layer means, all of a sudden if you say like you have to stop all the AC production and the refrigeration production means, then it will affect billions of dollars business. So gradually you can see this is an economic activity, no? So each and every country will have their own economic sovereignty. Okay, so economic sovereignty cannot be compromised. So economic sovereignty means your internal economic activities cannot be influenced by external forces, external factors. So in such case, then only through negotiations and only through these kind of mechanisms you can bring all the countries together and you can take action. Okay, otherwise it is not, you cannot force them. Okay. And the next one, should 30 countries are needed to implement any convention, or will it be different for different convention? Yes, it will be different for different convention. It is based on the purpose. Okay. Super. Next, see the third COP. It was conducted in Kyoto, and the Kyoto Protocol was signed. But before going to Kyoto Protocol in detail, I want to ask a few questions. See, if you take two group of countries, developing and developed, okay, you know the reason for climate change, global warming, this is purely or not purely, mainly because of burning of fossil fuel. Okay, so burning of fossil fuel resulted in accumulation of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases in the lower atmosphere. So these greenhouse gases have tendency to easily allow incoming solar radiation, and it will not allow outgoing terrestrial radiation that led to climate change, global warming. Okay. Now, in your opinion, between developing and developed countries, who is responsible for global warming? Who is more responsible between developing and developed? Super. Developing, yeah. Developing countries in past, developed countries, and in present by developing countries. Asiatic cheetah, you are more practical. Developing nations. See, how you are saying developing nations, I don't know. See, historically, who is responsible more? Developed countries. As mentioned by Archana, developed countries, since their industrialization from 1800, okay, though from 19th century, they are more responsible than developing countries for this climate change, because At least now we have concerns about global warming, climate change, and we are judicially using our resources. But during that time, from early 20th centuries and all, indiscriminately coal was burned and oil was burned. Okay, so there was indiscriminate usage. So only developed countries, we have to blame only developed countries for this one. Okay. So what happened in Kyoto Protocol? Okay, the entire world was divided into two group of countries. Okay, one is Annex 1, second one Annex 2, third one developing countries. Developing countries. Annex 1, Annex 2 and developing countries. So developing countries, who are all developing countries like India, all most of the Asian nations, African nations, Latin American nations and all. Who can be called as Annex 1? See, in Annex 1, there are two group of countries. Okay, in Annex 1, there are two group of countries. Very, very important. First, you should understand, then only you can understand Kyoto Protocol. Under Annex 1, there are two group of countries. One is industrially well advanced and developed countries like G7. Okay, like United States, European Union, Japan, Australia, Canada. Okay, so all industrially and economically well developed states. Okay, second group of countries, they are called EIT. EIT. EIT means there are certain countries, around 30 countries, they are transforming. Okay, they are in the middle stage. They are moving from developing country status to developed country status. They are in the transition position. So it is called economies in transition. EIT means economies in transition. Economies in transition. So which country can be called as EIT? Like Eastern European countries like Hungary, Poland. Okay, the former Soviet Union countries. Okay, Belarus. To all these countries, they are called economies in transition. Economies in transition. So they are called as economies in transition, and others called developed countries. So totally it was more than 40 plus, I think 42 countries. I'm not sure about number, I think 42. So they are called Annex 1 countries. Annex 1 countries. Next one, Annex 2. Annex 2 countries means within the Annex 1, non-EIT members. Annex 1 includes all, both EIT and developed countries. Here, in Annex 2, non-EIT countries. Who are they? Can you answer? Whether India is EIT, sir? நம்ம EIT range எங்க இருக்கோம்? No. We are still developing country only. Yeah. Okay. China, South Korea. No. I'm saying who are all non-EIT members? All developing, yeah. Developing, how developing country will come under this one? No. Vinisha? No. Industrially well advanced. Exactly. Archana, you are correct. Okay, Mageshwar, Brazil, it is coming under developing only. Okay, so industrially well advanced countries, non-EIT, see, Simply I told in Annex 1 there will be two group of countries. One is EIT, next one developed countries. In Annex 2, I told non-EIT countries. So who is non-EIT? All developed countries. Particularly members of OECD. Who will come under non-EIT under Annex 2 means members of OECD. What is OECD? Any idea? What is OECD? SAARC nation. No. African nations, SAARC nations. No. OECD, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. Great. Super Mageshwar. Great. Exactly. See, Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. This is the international organization, mainly consists of mainly consists of European countries and well advanced countries. Say for example, Austria, Belgium, then Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, then Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, United Kingdom. So they are. So these are the members of OECD. The OECD, the purpose of this organization is for economic development. Okay. Name itself says Organization for Economic Development. Okay. See, in this Annex 2, who are all members in Annex 2 means non-EIT countries, mainly members of OECD. Mainly members of OECD. So it means mainly like US, Britain and well advanced countries, industrially well advanced countries. So they are called Annex 2. I hope you got it. Okay, you are clear. And third category is developing countries like India. Okay. Now, actually Kyoto Protocol has divided entire world into three group of countries. Annex 1, which consists of developed countries as well as EIT. Annex 2, non-EIT members, particularly the OECD countries. And third one, developing states. Any doubt with respect to this? According to Kyoto, three things. Three group of countries. Okay. Then, in 1997, okay, in Kyoto, this protocol was established with three group of countries, and for Annex 1 countries, some targets were fixed. Some targets were fixed. What was the target? That is, they should reduce their greenhouse gas emission. See, later target period was given. Okay, when they should achieve this target, the target period was given later. Okay, but some doubts. Gulf countries, no. Colombia is known for drug protection, with weak. How it is? See, Colombia joined recently. Okay, so your question is Colombia is having very weak government and they are famous for drug cartel and the drug business. But recently they joined with the ambition of becoming this one. Okay. Okay. Next question is Are well advanced countries of Annex 1 also part of Annex 2? Yes. Okay. So Annex 2 it consists of mainly advanced countries. Annex 1 consists of EIT as well as developed countries. Okay. Now, what was the target given to Annex 1? Very simple. The Annex 1 states they should reduce their greenhouse gas emission. Sorry, they should reduce their greenhouse gas emission to 5.1% of 1990 level. When it should be reduced? It should be reduced by 2012, end of 2012. This is the targeted year. So targeted year was 2000. So period from 2008 to 2012. Within 5 years, 8 January to 12 December. So within 5 years, they should reach this target. Okay. So this target was given to Annex 1. So that is simply they have to reduce their target. That's all. But for Annex 2 countries, along with this, there was one more commitment because they are industrially developed and economically they are viable to spend more for addressing this climate change. Am I correct? So, that is Annex 2 countries, they should help financially developing countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emission. Okay, Annex 2 countries, they should provide financial support to developing countries. Okay, for developing countries, no targets or no commitments under Kyoto Protocol. Please understand. Commitment is only for Annex 1 countries and Annex 2 countries. Annex 1 consists of developed and EIT. Annex 2 consists of non-EIT OECD members. Okay. For Annex 1 countries, they should reduce their greenhouse gas emission to 5.1% of 1990 level by 2012, end of 2012. This is the target for Annex 1. Annex 1 consists of developed countries plus EIT. Annex 2 countries, that is non-EIT member, that is OECD members, they should provide financial support to developing countries. For what? To reduce their greenhouse gas emission. So what do you mean? For developing countries, no targets were given. Developing countries, no targets were given. But this one, only for well advanced countries, industrially well advanced countries, they have target as well as financial commitment. EIT countries, only reduction commitment. That's all. Okay. Now, they should reach this target by end of 2012. And okay. This one, this mechanism is simply called Kyoto Protocol, and in Kyoto Protocol there are some other extra mechanisms are given. That is called flexible mechanism. Please note it down. Under Kyoto Protocol, there is a mechanism called flexible mechanism. Flexible mechanism. See, targets were given, no, for developed countries, like they should reduce this much. Okay, to reduce this much, they will have target. Every year, annual target will be given. Say, for example, Britain cannot exceed, say, for example, 200 million tons of carbon dioxide per annum, or 500 million tons. So, like that, there will be some quotas or some fixed targets were given to developed countries. So, they should not exceed this. Okay, then only they can reduce this greenhouse gas emission. Am I right? Okay. Then what happened? Actually, can you switch on your video? I'm not at all able to catch your mind. because this purely dry area, I don't know to what extent I'm conveying message to you. Okay, so and if you have any doubt, please stop me. Yeah, super. Sarvan, thank you. Mm, so India is not part of any of this classification. Actually, India is Vinisha. India is part of developing country. So there is some countries in Annex 1 are also part of Annex 2. Yes, Ashwin. In Annex 1, there will be developed countries. Thank you so much. In Annex 1, there will be developed countries as well as economies in transition. In Annex 2, only the developed countries will be there. The the EAT members will not be there. Okay, that is the reason it's called non-EAT OECD members. Okay, in part 1, it will be OECD members as well as this one, EAT. Okay, and so please repeat Annex 1. Amuda, Annex 1 is, again I'm saying, developed countries. They are also part of OECD. All developed countries, industrially well developed countries plus economies in transition. Annex 2, non-EAT members, that is only developed countries. Okay, EAT members means their position, their economic position in transition. They are moving from developing to developed. Okay, and we can consider G7 as Annex 2. Yes, most of the G7s are under Annex 2 only. Okay, and how are emissions measured? Yes, Archana, there are some mechanisms, scientific mechanisms are available to measure the emissions. Okay, so that's the reason even the carbon emission is quantified and it is traded as a commodity in commodity exchange. So one quota is one unit is equal to 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide. Okay, see, under Kyoto Protocol, a mechanism was introduced that is called flexible mechanism. Okay, flexible mechanism means it is like violation of rules. We have traffic rules. If you violate traffic rules, you have to pay fine, penalty. Same thing here also. In Kyoto Protocol is a rule. If you violate Kyoto Protocol, you have to make payment. I mean penalty. You have to make penalty payment. See, first is called clean development mechanism. First mechanism is called clean development mechanism. This terminology definitely you will read in newspaper very often. Clean development mechanism under Kyoto. Second one is called joint implementation. Second is called joint implementation. Second one is called joint implementation. Joint implementation. Thank you so much for those who joined with the video. Okay, joint implementation. Third one is called carbon credit or carbon trade. Okay, so for example, France coming under Annex 1. Okay, they have some cap, that is, they have some target or limit. So they have annual limit of emission. Say for example, the annual limit is 100 million metric tons. Okay, just imagine. And suppose if France is crossing this limit, they are not able to reduce their emission, they are not able to limit their emission with 100 million metric ton. Okay, they are exceeding the limit. Then what will happen? There should be some punishment for them, no? Okay, say for example, to reduce, okay, the greenhouse gas emission, say for example in France, they want to reduce this greenhouse gas emission. For that, they are going for some project. So in what way they can reduce greenhouse gas emission? Say for example, in India, you can give so many examples. One is like, oh, thank you so much. So many are joining. One is like our metro project, metro rail. Only with metro rail, thousands of metric ton carbon dioxide emission reduced, because we established well efficient public transport. That public transport reduced usage of personal vehicle, that led to reduction of fuel consumption, that led to reduction of emission. So this is one aspect. Second one, you can do carbon sequestration. What do you mean by carbon sequestration? That is, you can observe carbon dioxide from atmosphere, you can bury either under ocean or land. Okay. So for example, through afforestation program, if you extend your forest cover, through which you can observe atmospheric carbon dioxide and you can bury. That is called carbon sink, natural carbon sink. So through these mechanisms, you can reduce your carbon dioxide emission. So for example, if France is doing these projects, all these carbon reducing projects, in France, the cost may be very high. Okay. So because in developed countries, generally cost will be very high. If the same project is implemented in India like developing countries, the cost will be maybe 1/5 or 1/4 or 1/3. Okay. So the carbon reduction projects of developed countries, or if they are implemented in developing countries, particularly due to the cost efficiency, and that is called clean development mechanism. Clean development mechanism. That is, carbon reduction projects of a developed country is, if it is implemented in developing country by a developed country, and if it is funded by the same developed country, then it is called clean development mechanism. Clean development mechanism. Should I repeat? So what is flexible mechanism? Flexible mechanism means it is flexible because if you violate, you can make payment. This penalty. Just like violation of traffic rules. Should I repeat? Yes, okay, I will repeat. See, in Kyoto Protocol, clearly targets were given for Annex 1 countries, Annex 2 countries. And for developing countries, no targets. Annex 1 countries, they should reduce their greenhouse gas emission to 5.1% of 1990 level by 2012. Whereas the Annex 2 countries, they should provide financial support to developed countries for reducing carbon dioxide emission. That is greenhouse gas emission. Not only carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas emission. So there are according to Kyoto Protocol, there are 6 greenhouse gases, including water vapor. Water vapor also greenhouse gas. Okay. So water vapor has tendency to absorb outgoing terrestrial radiation. Okay. Now, this is a protocol, right? Strictly it should be followed. In case if someone is violating, see, suddenly some limits are fixed on developed countries. Okay. In case if they are violating, violating means not intentionally. Due to their inability, if they are crossing the limit, then there should be some solution for this. So that is the reason they created flexible mechanism. Flexible mechanism. So flexible mechanism means there are 3 flexible mechanisms. One is clean development mechanism. Second one is joint implementation. Third one is carbon credit or carbon trade. Clean development mechanism means if a developed country is funding for carbon reduction project in a developing country due to cost effective reasons, it is called as clean development mechanism. If a developed country is funding for carbon sink projects in developing country, it is called clean development mechanism. Clean development mechanism. I hope you got it now. Video? Whether my video is correct? Is there any network issue? My voice is clear? Can you respond? Yes, clear. Okay, sir. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. 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 So this is called CDM. Next one, joint implementation. It is very simple. If one developed country is funding carbon sink project in another developed country, it is called joint implementation. That is, jointly two developed countries are implementing carbon sink project. Carbon sink project. Joint implementation means if one developed country is funding carbon reduction project in another developed country, one developed country is funding for carbon reduction project in another developed country, it is called joint implementation. Joint implementation. Next one, the emission of carbon dioxide, okay, of developing countries will be quantified as equal to 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide emission as a one unit. It will be traded in commodity exchange, okay, as a commodity. Okay, 1 metric ton equivalent of carbon dioxide emission will be considered as one unit. Commodity exchanges are there, no? Like they are trading all commodities like gold, silver, and all other agricultural commodities, metal commodities, and all. Okay, so same like this, carbon dioxide will be considered as a commodity and it will be traded as commodity in commodity exchange. So some developed countries, if they are exceeding the limit, they will purchase the carbon credit. Carbon credit. See, the same thing will be elaborately discussed in your environment class, in your climate change topic. Okay, just briefly I am explaining so that you can understand newspaper properly. Harini, whether video is still blurred? Can you check it? Harini messaged. Video is blurred, sir. Okay. So if you have problem, please reconnect. So why suddenly dropped the connection? 27 33. Oh, 33. Okay. Sorry. With video. Okay. Okay. So are you clear with the flexible mechanism? Now it's fine. Okay, Harini, thank you. See, this is the mechanism established under Kyoto Protocol in 1997, and Kyoto was implemented in 2005, and targeted period from 2008 to 2012. Okay. Initiated in 1997, signed, implemented in 2005, targeted period to achieve this target, it is from 2008 to 2012, 5 years. Okay. And in In 2007, sorry, not 7, 2009. Okay, 2008 target period started, and in 2009, 15th COP was scheduled in Copenhagen. 15th COP for what? Any idea? 15th COP for what? Exactly. UNF triple C. UNF triple C. Okay. Yeah. Reviewing target. Okay. It was scheduled in Copenhagen. See, in 2008, the target period started, and in the beginning itself, United States clearly informed they will not accept Kyoto Protocol, because if they accept, it will affect their economic interest. Because they have to invest huge amount of money in alternate source of energy, and they have to fund for developing countries. So they were not ready for accepting Kyoto Protocol because it will affect their economic interest. So they came out from Kyoto. Later, Canada also came out, and Australia also not accepted initially. See, then what happened in 2008? The summit was scheduled. 15th Conference of Parties to UNFCCC was scheduled in Copenhagen. In Copenhagen, there was a rift. There was a conflict between two group of countries. The developed countries led by United States, okay, USA was part of UNFCCC but not part of Kyoto. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, that's a convention in which United States is party. Whereas under this convention, Kyoto Protocol is a protocol in which United States is not party, because protocol is a binding one. Okay, and US informed, like, if they accept Kyoto, it will affect their economic interest. Okay, then yeah, said okay. See, the developed countries led by United States, they formed a group in Copenhagen, and there was a demand. What was the demand? The developed countries led by US and other developed countries, they argued with the developing countries, like, see what happened till 2009. Okay, United States was single largest emitter of carbon dioxide, followed by China. Third is European Union. Fourth is India. Fifth is Russia. This is the order. Till 2009, they are the top 5 contributing states. Okay, with respect to carbon dioxide emission. Top 5 contributing states. And in 2009, China became number 1 polluter. So China became number 1, US became number 2. Generally, every year, November, December only, this COP will be conducted. Every year, the COP will be conducted either month of November or December. So in 2009, before the COP, China became number 1 polluter in the world. United States became number 2. Then in this one, Copenhagen summit, problem started. The developed countries argued with the developing countries, like, one side, developed countries are reducing their carbon dioxide emission. Another side, developing countries are polluting more. Actually, they mentioned China and India. Okay. One side, developed countries are slowly reducing their carbon dioxide emission. Another side, developing countries are increasing. Then, if this is continued, then there will not be any meaning for Kyoto Protocol, and there will not be any meaning for the measures taken by developed countries. So, what can be done? Along with the developed countries, developing countries also should take responsibility for emission reduction. This is the demand of developing, US-led developed countries. US was the leader of, they were the representative of all developed countries. So US requested, or they argued with the developing countries, with all other developed countries, like along with the developed countries, developing countries should take responsibility for reduction of emission. For reduction of emission. Okay. So this is the target. This is the issue. In your opinion, India like developing country, shall we take responsibility as requested by developing countries? Please respond. Asiatic cheetah. So please explain carbon credit once more. Yes, I will tell you. After completing this, I will come to that one. Shall we take responsibility? No. Sivapriya Mageswar says no. Harini says yes. Saran says no. No. Vinisha says yes. No, as developing countries contribute more on industrial sector. Okay. Any other? Energy is important for development. Okay, super. Archana, no sir, we have to compensate for historical economic exploitation. Super. What kind of responsibility? Akshay, responsibility is like reduction of emission. So developed countries are saying same like developed countries. Developing countries also should take responsibility for emission reduction. So we don't have clean energy. Equal responsibility not taken. See, developed countries, actually when United States led developed countries requested all developing countries to take responsibility same like developing countries in 2009 Copenhagen summit, the developing countries argued differently. First, see, the developed countries, you exploited natural resources and you burned this fossil fuel almost for more than 250 years, and you enjoyed all economic benefits out of this exploitation. Okay, you enjoyed all the economic benefits. Whereas we started our economic development journey just now. Okay, just now we started our economic journey. So only after 1970s or 80s, India-like countries, we started our economic development, and China also, they started economic development only after 1970s, particularly after 1973, 74. Okay, so in this context, we cannot take responsibility same like developed countries. Point number one. Second, India-like countries, say for example in India, actually in 2009, in India, the ratio of poverty was close to 30%. That is 1/3 of our population are living under poverty. In these circumstances, in this situation, we cannot take responsibility because providing electricity is the only major solution for lifting of these millions of population out of poverty. Only by providing this one, the electricity, we can give them opportunity, we can give them employment opportunity and all other opportunities, economic opportunities, through which we can we can lift them from poverty, out of poverty. For providing electricity, the chief mode of production, okay, the chief mode of electricity production, so electricity generation will be coal-based thermal power station, because we cannot afford for any other kind of energy production. So we can do only this. So if we accept any commitment, then definitely it will affect our economic development, and we cannot address poverty of 1/3 of our population. This is second point. Third point is very important. It is very much valid also. See, if you take the per capita carbon dioxide emission, okay, in 2009 in United States the per capita carbon dioxide was first India, our per capita carbon dioxide emission was 1.4 metric ton per person per year. 1.4 metric ton per person per year. In China, it was around 4.1 metric ton per person per year, or 4.5, I think. Global average was around 4.1. Sorry, 1.5. Global average. Actually, Indians' per capita emission was less than global average. But if you take European Union and United States, their per capita emission was more than 22 metric ton per person per year. So what do you mean? They are following very luxurious lifestyle. Okay, so very luxurious lifestyle, and the energy consumption, per capita energy consumption is very high in United States and European Union. Whereas in India-like countries, only for our sustenance, only for our survival, we are consuming energy. So in this context, see, you are following mass consumption pattern. This is not at all good for environment. This is the argument of developing countries. First one, historically you made a mistake, because almost for more than 250 years you exploited and you consumed more energy and you enjoyed all kind of economic benefit from this energy consumption. Second one is we have to address poverty, and third one is per capita energy consumption is very high in developed countries when compared to developing countries. So in this context, they were not at all ready to accept any commitment, because logically we should not accept. But there is no space for rivalry between developing and developed, because time is running, clock is ticking. See, immediately we have to take some initiative, or we should conclude a mutual agreement. Then only we can protect our planet. Otherwise, there will be disastrous effect. So in 2009, but the developed countries, they were very much adamant, very much particular. They forced developing countries to accept some commitments. So accordingly, in the last minute of the Copenhagen summit, a mutual agreement was signed in the name of Copenhagen Accord. Copenhagen Accord was signed. Okay, so it was signed. It was signed between two group of countries. One is United States, led by all the developed countries led by US. And next one, developing countries led by a group of countries called BASIC. Brazil, South Africa, India, China. BASIC countries. Brazil, South Africa, India, and China. It is called BASIC. So between these two group of countries, an agreement was reached. It is called Copenhagen Accord, in which it was agreed by developing countries that after first phase of Kyoto, developing countries may accept some commitments. Developing countries may accept some commitments. So that is the the major highlight of Copenhagen Accord. Copenhagen Accord. Okay. Any doubt till now? So first is Kyoto development. Okay. India was victim of deindustrialization by UK, so we should industrialize. Mahesh, your argument is okay, but now we cannot compete. You cannot take advantage of the historical mistake done by this one, developed countries. Next one, Harini, India should take responsibility because we are also living on the same earth. Superb. So we also have responsibility. Developing countries may or should commit. Achana. Ashwin Sriram, carbon credit mechanism once again. Yes. First I will see in the flow we are going. I will complete this, then definitely I will address your question. Carbon credit. Next, so what kind of commitment they accepted? See, what commitment was reached in Copenhagen Agreement means it is very simple. After 2012, that is till end of 2012, we have first phase of Kyoto target period from 2008 to 2012. Once 2012 is over, first phase of Kyoto is over, then the developing countries may think about taking responsibility along with the developed countries. That is the agreement in Copenhagen reached. Okay. This has impact on WTO. So, Priya, I couldn't get your question. Okay. Next. So, accordingly, so every year the COP was conducted, every year Conference of Parties. And in 2010, COP was conducted, I think, in Durban or Cancun, I'm not sure. Cancun in Mexico, or Durban, South Africa. 2010, 2011, and 2012. So 3 years in 3 places: Doha, Cancun, and Durban. 3 places. I'm not sure which year, which places it was conducted. That is not much important. But in 2010, a new proposal was given by developing countries that is called Green Climate Fund, GCF. Green Climate Fund was proposed in 2010. 2010 it was proposed. Okay. Green Climate Fund. What is this fund? This fund will be contributed by developed countries. Value will be approximately $100 billion. It will be contributed by developed countries and it will be used by developing countries for emission reduction projects to mitigate this climate change. That is called Green Climate Fund. Green Climate Fund. It was proposed in 2010, agreed in 2011, established in 2012. Okay. But this fund till date not yet materialized fully. Not yet materialized completely. Green Climate Fund. Green Climate Fund is part of UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Okay. Then Now only the another major development, that is in 2015, 21st COP was conducted in Paris. Okay, 21st COP in 2015 was conducted in Paris. So what was the major outcome? Can you text me? What was the major outcome of Paris climate deal? Are you Sultan? Paris climate deal. Okay, so Paris climate deal was the major outcome. This Paris agreement. Yeah, super. Okay, sir. Paris agreement, which US joined, then later withdrew. This actually in 2012 Doha summit. Okay, 2012 Doha, in Doha, Qatar. The COP was conducted for that year, in which it was agreed, okay, that there will be amendment to Kyoto Protocol. Okay, I forgot to mention this. In 2012, because in 2012 Kyoto Protocol will get expired, no? It will get expired. So whether either it should be extended or it should be terminated. So what happened? In 2012 Doha summit, all the countries have accepted to extend Kyoto Protocol. That will be called as second phase. Second phase of Kyoto. That is, second phase of Kyoto will be from 2012 to 2020. 2012 to 2020. Okay. So this is the major development in Doha. So in 2012 Doha summit, in the second phase of Kyoto, some extra commitments were given to developed countries. In the first phase of Kyoto, target limit was 5.1% of 1990 level, that is emission reduction. Now in second phase, it should be 18%. It should be 18% of 1990 level. Almost threefold the target was increased. This is the major difference. Okay, the target limit was, that is 18%. And second one, in original Kyoto Protocol, only 6 gases were classified as greenhouse gases. In second phase of Kyoto, they wanted to add some more gases as greenhouse gases. Okay, and in first phase only 5 years of target. Here 8 years of target. 2012 to 2020. 2012 to 2020. But what happened, according to Kyoto estimation, Kyoto Protocol estimation, in first phase itself, some of the developed countries, instead of reaching to 5.9% of emission reduction level, they reached more than 20%. Okay, in first phase itself. So now what happened? Most of the developed countries, they are not ready to take obligations in second phase. Second phase, they are not ready to take responsibility. So they amended this but not implemented. Kyoto was amended in 2012 but not implemented. Okay. Next, so in 2015, in Paris Climate Summit, an international agreement was signed and it was agreed by all the countries including United States. That is called Paris Climate Deal or Paris Climate Agreement. Very, very, very important development in the recent history. Paris Climate Deal. So what was the major aspects or provisions of this deal? First is the world countries should limit global average temperature, global atmospheric average temperature should not exceed 2 degrees centigrade from pre-industrial level. Pre-industrial level. Global atmospheric average temperature should not exceed 2 degrees centigrade from pre-industrial level. From pre-industrial level. What do you mean? Say for example, pre-industrial level means before industrial revolution level. Say for example, before industrial revolution, if the global average atmospheric temperature was 18 degrees centigrade, now we should not allow exceeding 20 degree. Okay, we should not allow exceeding 20 degree average temperature. Actually, it was mentioned between 1.5 degree to 2 degree. 1.5 degree to 2 degree it was mentioned. Later confusion came among the scientific community whether it is 2 degree or 1.5 degree. Then clearly it was mentioned it is not 2 degree, it is 1.5 degree. Okay. The global average atmospheric temperature should not exceed 1.5 degree above pre-industrial level. Now it is confirmed it is not 2 degree, it is 1.5. 1.5 ke உலகம் தாங்காதுங்கறாங்க. 2 degree அப்படினா it will be disastrous. Okay. So when compared to pre-industrial level, the global average temperature should not exceed 1.5 degree. Do you know now what is the average global average temperature when compared to pre-industrial level? To what level we reached? Now we reached 1.1 degree centigrade. Just 0.4 is remaining. So that's the reason I mentioned clock started ticking. Okay, just 0.4 is missing. So probably, see, the international climatological scientific community, they are saying the next 6 to 9 years will be very crucial for human society, humankind. Okay, if we not any strong measures within the coming 6 to 9 years, then no one can save our planet. See, all eminent scientists, global climate change scientists, they are warning. We have to take responsibility. We have to take strong measures. Because we don't have planet B. We have only one planet, which is supporting all lives. Okay, so this is the first point with respect to this one, the Paris Climate Agreement. First point is we should restrict global average temperature to 1.5 degree when compared to pre-industrial level. Next is to achieve this individually, okay, individually all countries should take nationally determined contributions, NDC. Okay, voluntarily each country should come up with some contribution. That is called nationally determined contribution. For what? For addressing climate change, for reducing these greenhouse gas emissions. Nationally determined contribution. Voluntarily they should come forward. Voluntarily they should come forward for this. So it is also called INDC. Intended nationally determined contribution. INDC. Intended nationally determined contribution. Intended nationally determined contribution. Okay. So this is the second major thing. Third one is this Paris climate deal commitments are completely on voluntary basis. No compulsory. It's purely on voluntary basis. Paris climate deal is purely on voluntary basis. Okay. And next thing is it is for all countries. That is universally all countries should take responsibility. Universally all countries should take responsibility. It is not only for developed countries. It is not only for EAT or it is not only for developing. There is no grouping. It should be taken by all the countries. Universally all should take responsibility. So this is the mechanism arrived in Paris Climate Agreement. So it was accepted by Obama administration in 2015 for United States, including India, all the countries. Most of the countries have accepted. Now from this, in 2017, Trump has announced he will come out. Okay, so United States came out from JCPOA, Paris Climate Agreement. They came out from UNESCO. They came out from UN Human Rights Council. They came out from WHO. They came out from this one, TPP, Trans-Pacific Agreement. There are so many things from that, from international agreement they came out. Okay. See, this is about United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So whatever we discussed, like Kyoto Protocol, then flexible mechanism, then Copenhagen Accord, Copenhagen problem, then Green Climate Fund, then this one Paris Climate Deal, all are coming under what? UNFCCC. Under this convention only every year COP was conducted, no? So in each COP there are some developments. Not each, some of the COPs, some developments. Okay. And this one, the recent developments, actually this year COP, it was scheduled for 2020, but due to COVID-19, it has been shifted to 2021. So we may get details only next year. So as of now, the status quo is maintained. There is no further development with respect to Paris Climate Deal. On the international scholars, they are saying like the decision of Trump administration will not affect Paris Climate Deal because already it is voluntary agreement. There is no compulsion for all. Am I correct? So Trump, even though Trump has declared like they will come out from this, and according to the Paris Climate Agreement, even though decision was taken in 2017, but officially they can come out from Paris Climate Deal only from 2020 November. So in 2020 November, probably that is the elections will be over, and there may be chances for another president in US. So if he is ready for accepting Paris Climate Deal, then it will be US will continue. Again, they will take measures. Okay, my assumption is probably in another 50 years, 50, the new technology going to rule the entire world. That will be the biggest business opportunity. That is same like the data. Okay, data is a new oil, right? So same like data, the another biggest business opportunity will be carbon engineering. So already Microsoft and all, they started investing huge amount of money. Okay, billions of dollars they are investing in carbon engineering. Carbon engineering means it's very simple. They will capture carbon dioxide from atmosphere, and this carbon dioxide will be converted into energy cells, and the energy cells will be used for industrial purpose. This is one aspect, and there are so many technologies available for this, and that may lead to business. Okay. Okay, so this is all about the UNFCCC. Now I will inform you, I will explain that carbon credit. Somebody asked, no. So carbon credit, Asiatic Cheetah asked this. So carbon credit is like, see, all developed countries are having their limit, right? In case if they are exceeding, they can get credit from developing countries. So the developing countries, same like commodity exchange. So in commodity exchange, we are trading commodities. No, one person will sell the commodity, another person will purchase commodity. Same like this, 1 metric ton equivalent of carbon dioxide will be considered as 1 unit. Okay, so it will be traded in stock exchange. Okay, so it will be purchased by developed countries, and this money will be taken by developing countries for this purpose, carbon sink purpose. Okay, so carbon is like a commodity. Okay, so next, see, again where we are going to move, again 1992. Why? Because on only 1992 UNFCCC was established. Under UNFCCC only, that is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Under this convention only we discussed about Kyoto and all these developments. That is one of the outcome of Rio Conference 1992. So what is the another outcome? CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity. Convention on Biological Diversity. Very, very important. Convention on Biological Diversity. I am asking one very simple question. See, biological diversity, you know answer. Like the variety of species in a given area. Okay. So, if there are more varieties, it means there is a large, more diversity. Okay. More number of species, different species, not number, different variety of species, then it is meaning that it has huge variety and diversity. Okay, so like it may be flora as well as fauna, that is plants and animals. Okay, see, why diversity is important? Why diversity is important? Any idea? So, for example, language diversity. Why you need language diversity instead of biodiversity? I am asking another question. It checks on other species. Okay, Vinisha. So, Priya, different perspectives. Oh, language. Okay. More exchange of ideas or thoughts to sustain various cultural Akshaya. Okay, every species are interconnected. Okay, Asiatic cheetah. See, I'm asking language diversity. We can start with language diversity. Say, for example, in India, same like US. In India, if we have only Hindi, we don't have any other language. Then think about our situation. So if you open Amazon Prime, or if you open Netflix, or if you open Hotstar, so what will be there? So only Hindi. Okay. But now you have variety. Okay. See, there's a reason. Diversity of thought, say, diversity of languages will reflect diversity of culture, diversity of society, diversity of ideas, diversity of custom. Okay, so it will give you value. But if there is only one species or one thing, one language, then you cannot get all these things. So diversity is very, very, very important. Okay. So biological diversity is very important, and particularly in the context of industrialization and climate change, we started losing our biodiversity, particularly due to the habitat destruction. We are losing a lot of biodiversities. So in this context, in 1992, a convention was signed in the Rio conference that is called Biological Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD. Very, very, very important. CBD. Okay. India is one among the mega biodiversity hotspot region, hotspot country in the world. We have a huge variety of species. Our region is mega diversity region, India, Western Ghats, Himalayan region, and even our ocean, the ocean region and all, we have a huge variety of species. See, in 1992, okay, this one Convention on Biological Diversity was signed, and its headquarters is in Montreal. Okay, this convention headquarters is in Montreal, and there are three objectives. There are three objectives of CBD. Very important. There are three objectives. First one is conservation of biodiversity. First is conservation of biodiversity. Second one, sustainable use of its components. First is conservation of biodiversity. Second one is sustainable use of its components. Sustainable use of its components. What are the components of biodiversity? That is gene diversity, species diversity, ecological diversity. Components. Components are gene diversity, species diversity, ecological diversity. Okay. The next one, third one is equitable sharing of benefits. Equitable sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources. Equitable sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources. These are the three objectives of CBD. Three objectives of CBD. So this convention was signed in 1992 Rio Summit, and this is the convention. Convention means just an initiative or not binding. This convention was signed 1992. But after signing this convention, there was no major development with respect to this convention, almost for 8 years. Then, to achieve first two objectives of CBD, what are the first two objectives? Conservation of biodiversity. Second one is sustainable use of its components. Sustainable use of its components. So, to achieve first two objectives of CBD, only in the year 2000, a protocol was signed that is called Cartagena Protocol. Cartagena Protocol was signed in the year 2000. Cartagena is a place in Colombia where this protocol was finalized. Okay. So it was signed in 2000 and it was implemented in 2003. This protocol was implemented in 2003. Only in 2003 it was accepted by majority of countries. Okay. What was the purpose? That is for biosafety. 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 What do you mean by biosafety? That is, if you allow any genetically modified organisms or living modified organisms into natural environment, then there are possibilities for negative consequences. இப்போ நம்ம சொல்றோம் இல்லைங்களா சீமக்கருவேல மரம். Okay, so invasive species. Okay, if you allow, that is naturally, it is not genetically modified. Invasive species are not genetically modified mostly. See, but if you allow any genetically modified organisms into natural environment, then there may be some negative consequences and it may be lead to destructions in natural environment. Natural environment. So to ensure the biosafety of the biodiversity region, this Cartagena protocol was signed. Cartagena protocol was signed to ensure biosafety. What is biosafety? While introducing living modified organisms, or that is genetically modified organisms into natural environment, certain guidelines are given. This is the way you have to introduce. Certain guidelines are given under this Cartagena protocol. Under Cartagena protocol, certain guidelines are given for ensuring biosafety when, that is, while introducing genetically modified or living modified organisms. So that is called Cartagena protocol. Why they want to ensure? Because genetically modified organisms may lead to destruction. It may lead to negative consequences in natural environment. Okay. So through this Cartagena protocol, they wanted to ensure the achievement of first two objectives. First one, conservation of biodiversity. So through the Cartagena protocol, they can ensure the conservation. Second one, sustainable use. Yes. So these two things can be achieved through Cartagena protocol. India is party to CBD as well as Cartagena protocol, and we have ratified, we have accepted Cartagena protocol in 2000 itself. That's the reason India is one among the very few first countries to enact exclusive law for protection of biodiversity. That is, National Biodiversity Act was passed in the year 2002. National Biodiversity Act was passed in 2002. Because we are under Cartagena protocol. Protocol means it is compulsory. National Biodiversity Act was passed. See, for example, when we accepted Montreal Protocol, okay, Montreal Protocol is again compulsory, no? It is a commitment. So what happened? Under Ministry of Environment and Forest, we established one separate cell, separate wing called ozone cell. So that ozone cell will monitor implementation of Montreal Protocol in India. So it will ensure the emission reduction of ODS. So same like here, to conserve our biological diversity, we enacted a law in 2002 that is called National Biodiversity Act. Under this act, we established an authority called National Biodiversity Authority. National Biodiversity Authority also we established in the same year, 2002, under this act. So to that extent, it is mandatory, it is compulsory. So India is one among the very few countries to establish biodiversity conservation acts, legislations, and mechanisms. So we enacted National Biodiversity Act as well as authority in the year 2000. Okay, this is the one of the protocol under CBD. Then the next problem, there's a third objective. It is very, very important. So what happened during 1970s and 80s, even 90s also, there were n number of biopiracies. Biopiracies. What do you mean by biopiracies? Can you text me? What do you mean by biopiracy? Sivapriya, sir, can we say BT cotton as example? For what? Sivapriya, BT cotton as example. Genetically modified. Genetically modified is not, it is not introduced in natural environment, but to some extent it is true only. So if you are introducing in agriculture field, it may lead to some negative consequences in natural environment. Trafficking of fauna and flora. For what? Vinisha, trafficking of flora and fauna for what? Countries will get patent rights for other countries' plant and animal. GA tag based on Archana, using indigenous biological organization and getting patent. Exactly. Super, Archana. Exactly. Yes. So this is called biopiracy. Biopiracy is defined as the illegal appropriation of live microorganisms, plants and animals, including human, and the traditional knowledge that accompanies it. So illegally, if you are appropriating, okay, so this is called biopiracy. So like taking some of genes and it will be used for commercial purpose and it will be patented. Once if it is patented, you cannot use it. The multinational corporations have been searching for rich natural resources everywhere to make out of the product along with the traditional knowledge prevailing there, then patented it and mint money out of it. So this is called biopiracy. The biggest threat actually for biodiversity. Biopiracy is the biggest threat. Any example of biopiracy? Any example? Damage to biological product. Saravanan. Hunting and export of flora and fauna. Basmati, turmeric, neem. Super. See, government itself gave examples. See, how many examples of biopiracy. Actually, Government of India, not now, I think 2004 or 2005-6 and all, they created one very good initiative, that is traditional knowledge digital library. All our traditional knowledges, they try to put in digital library, and that is to prevent this biopiracy. Okay, in the website, in government website itself, they gave all this one. So these are the examples. Okay, some examples of biopiracy, traditional knowledge. Biopiracy of one is turmeric. Yes, actually, just you read this. in 1995 two expatriate Indians at the University of Mississippi Medical Center, Suman K. Das, Namaleda, okay, and were granted a US patent, okay, on use of turmeric in wound healing. So generally, almost for thousands of years, from time immemorial, we are using turmeric for healing our wounds. That one was patented by these two culprits in US. And uh, Indian authorities, we filed case against that with all valid evidences like from ancient literature and all. It was taken and it was produced in US court. Finally, that is in the turmeric case was a landmark judgment case, as it was for the first time that patent based on the traditional knowledge of developing country was successfully challenged. So the US Patent Office revoked this patent in 1997 after ascertaining that there was no novelty. Okay, it was supposed to be these two people. Okay, this is one example. Next one, neem. Actually, Indian farmers, we are using neem oil for using in agricultural field, particularly as a fungicide, pesticide, insecticide. Okay, and this method was patented by some US people and in Europe. And again, we fought a legal battle and we won that case. And again, basmati rice. Okay, so not only this, there are so many traditional knowledge as well as this thing from India, not only from India, from across the world. So, for example, this and all, it is a very big issue. So, for generations, shamans are one of the indigenous tribes in Amazon region. Okay, so they are using one plant for treating illness. It was patented by US people, and again it was quashed. Okay, so there are so many things in the examples of biopiracy. Okay, and another important interesting case is actually in West Africa there is a berry. Okay, sweet berry. Just imagine in West Africa the sweet berry is equal to 2000 times sweeter than normal refined sugar. Then think about the sweetness. Just imagine. So what happened on US company, they took gene of this sweet berry. It was injected in corn, maize in US. Genetically they modified and it was injected in this one. With that they produced millions of metric tons of sweet corn. So just one gene was taken from that, and from that they started producing sweet corn. So they earned billions of dollars. Okay, so again there was a legal battle for that. So there are so many examples for biopiracy. If it is not checked, if the biopiracy is not checked, if it is not stopped, then what will happen? At one point of time, all the resources will be depleted. Even in India, in 2018, there was a famous case of biopiracy. Do you know Divya Pharmacy? Who is the owner of Divya Pharmacy? In India, it is a very famous pharmacy. Who is the owner of Divya Pharmacy? Text me. Divya Pharmacy. Very famous case. No idea? Divya Pharmacy owner is Baba Ramdev. Okay. See, actually what happened in Uttarakhand, the Baba Ramdev group, they took traditional knowledge of some local community. Along with that, not only knowledge, they took some plant species to produce some medicine. And they sold this medicine in Indian market, not only India, they exported also this medicine. And they earned huge amount of profit. Okay. According to conventional biological diversity, we have another protocol, okay, that is called as Nagoya Protocol. Nagoya Protocol. What is Nagoya Protocol? That is to achieve the third objective of CBD. What is the third objective of CBD? What's the third objective? That is The third objective of CBD is equitable sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources. Genetic resources includes traditional knowledge. Equitable sharing. What do you mean equitable sharing? See, nearly the MNCs will not be allowed to exploit the resources. See, whatever profit they earned from the genetic resources and traditional knowledge, it should be rationally, it should be shared with the local community or the local government. So that is called equitable sharing. So this one was, see, in 2010, okay, in 2010, this Nagoya Protocol was signed under CBD. Nagoya Protocol was signed under CBD. What this Nagoya Protocol is saying, that is, all genetic resources, whatever used by the MNCs, it should be shared with respect to, see, whatever the profit they appropriated through the genetic resources and traditional knowledge, it should be shared with either local people or local government. Okay, so that is called Nagoya Protocol. It was signed in 2010. It came into effect in 2014. India is party to CBD as well as Cartagena as well as Nagoya. Because we have huge variety of species, we have mega biodiversity. So we have to protect it. Okay. So this is called Convention on Biological Diversity. So what happened finally? The Uttarakhand government has filed a case against Divya Pharmacy, and Uttarakhand High Court ordered, like India is a party to, since India is a party to CBD and the Nagoya Protocol, Divya Pharmacy should share profit with Uttarakhand government and local people. So it was the verdict. Okay, so நம்மூர் மக்கள் எப்படி இருக்கப்போ அப்புறம் அமெரிக்காக்காரனை பற்றி சொல்றதுக்கு ஒன்றுமே இல்லை. See, then Indian measures, like we enacted law and we created authority also. Okay, National Biodiversity Authority. So this is about the outcomes of Rio Summit. Okay, on Agenda 21 also we discussed briefly. Just there is no much development with respect to Agenda 21. Okay, so first we started from 1972 Stockholm Conference, and the Stockholm Conference resulted in establishment of UNEP. Under UNEP, the major agreement was first, it was signed in 1985, that is Vienna Convention. And since this is the convention and just an initiative and not binding, under convention Montreal was signed. Through Montreal, we reduced this one, the ozone depleting substances. And the recent study shows that ozone layer almost it comes to normal position. Probably by 2040 it will come to normal position. 2040 to 50. In another 20 years it will come to normal position. And because of that, it was considered as the world's most successful environmental agreement. Then an amendment was introduced to a Montreal Protocol. So through amendment, they wanted to add HFC also, because HFC, even though HFC is not major ODS, but it is a major pollutant and major culprit for global warming. So they wanted to keep HFC under Montreal because of its universality and commitment. So for making this amendment, an agreement was signed that is called Kigali Agreement or Kigali Amendment in 2017. Then we discussed about the Brundtland Commission and its report in 1987, and it was saying about the concept of sustainable development. And then in 1992, 20 years after Stockholm Conference, a review summit was conducted in which there were so many developments. The first development is to address climate change. A convention was signed. It is called United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Then another major convention is CBD. Another one is Agenda 21. Another major convention was initiated, that is UNCCD, United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. Then under UNFCCC, it was signed in 1992 and came into effect in 1994. And according to this convention, every year there should be annual summit. It will be conducted by conference of parties. And first COP was conducted in 1995 in Berlin, no major outcome. 96, second COP, no major outcome. Third COP was conducted in Kyoto. And in Kyoto, a protocol was signed under UNFCCC. And this Kyoto protocol is saying the entire world will be divided into three group of countries: Annex 1, Annex 2, and developing states. And one more group, that is least developed countries, developing and least developed. Okay. And Annex 1 countries consist of all industrialized countries plus EIT. Second one is consist of non-EIT members, particularly OECD members. Then third is developing states. So the target was fixed only for Annex 1 countries, that is by end of 2012, they have to reduce their greenhouse gas emission to 5.1% of 1990 level. Then Annex 2 countries, they should finance for developing countries for reduction of greenhouse gas emission. And in same Kyoto Protocol, a flexible mechanism was established. So there are three flexible mechanisms: clean development mechanism, in which a developed country will fund for carbon sink project in developing country. Next one, joint implementation. One developed country will fund for carbon sink project in another developed country. Next one, carbon credit. So carbon will be quantified, carbon dioxide emission will be quantified, and it will be traded as commodity in commodity exchange. So the developed countries can pay for this, and they can get credit if they are exceeding the limit. Next, in 2009, Copenhagen Summit was conducted, in which there was a rift between developing and developed countries. Developed countries insisted developing countries to take responsibility, but developing countries refused because of their historical mistake of developed countries. But developed countries forcefully they requested developing countries to take responsibility. But finally, in 2009, in principle, developing countries also they agreed for taking responsibility after first phase of Kyoto, that is after end of 2012. Then in 2010, 11, 12, they discussed about the international funding mechanism. Accordingly, Green Climate Fund was established with the objective of collecting $100 billion per annum from developed countries. It will be used by developing countries for the emission reduction. Then in 2015, the major development in the 21st COP, which was held in Paris, in which Paris Climate Agreement was signed. The Paris Climate Agreement is saying like the the world average atmospheric temperature should not exceed 1.5 degrees centigrade from pre-industrial revolution level. And next one is, for that, invariably all countries, not only developed, all countries should take responsibility. That is, nationally they have to determine how much they can contribute. So that is called nationally determined contribution, and it is purely on voluntary basis. So from this agreement, United States came out. Okay, and next is it will be implemented. Actually, Paris Climate Deal entered into force from 2016. I forgot to inform that. Okay, Paris Climate Deal entered into force from 2016, and from this United States came out. And the international scholars, they are saying like it will not affect the Paris Climate Deal, since it is a purely voluntary basis. And India, like countries and all, they started implementing this. And next is, so all these are related to UNFCCC. Next is CBD. So CBD consists of three objectives: conservation, sustainable use, and equitable sharing. So to achieve first two objectives, even though, since this is the convention, under this convention, Cartagena Protocol was signed in the year 2000, which is aiming for regulation of introduction and use of living modified organisms in natural environment. And later, in order to prevent biopiracy and to protect to ensure sustainable use of its benefits, sustainable sharing of benefits, Nagoya Protocol was signed in 2010 and it was entered into force in 2015. Okay, and accordingly, India enacted National Biodiversity Act in 2002, and we created National Biodiversity Authority. The headquarters of National Biodiversity Authority is located in Chennai. Okay, so this is all about today's class. I hope you got all the points and you are clear with this. Okay, in next class we will discuss about, I will tell you now, in the next class we are going to discuss about the outcome of 2002 Johannesburg Summit. In 2002, Johannesburg, that is 10 years after Rio, a review conference was conducted to assess the review, development of Rio conference. So it was conducted in Johannesburg, South Africa in 2002. So it is called Rio Plus 10 Summit. So we will discuss about the outcome of Rio Summit. Then again 10 years later in 2012, another review conference was conducted. Again, it was conducted in Rio de Janeiro. It is called Rio Plus 20 Summit, very, very important summit. Only in Rio Plus 20 Summit, the concept of sustainable development goals were declared. Okay, it was initiated. Okay, in 2012 summit. And the concept of green economy. Okay, so that and all discussed. Green economic policies and all discussed in Rio Plus 20 conference. Okay, that is very important. So we will discuss these developments. Then we will move to the next global mandate, that is peace and security. Peace and security. So we will discuss briefly about what are the major conflicts post Second World War, during Cold War time, to what extent it affected regional instability, and what are the roles played by United Nations Security Council to ensure world peace, and to what extent in some of the incidents where the Security Council failed that led to disastrous effect. So we will discuss all these things. Then we will move to other global mandates like investment and trade disputes, then economic security and all. Okay, are you clear? See, actually I thought of giving you like how UPSC is asking question from current affairs in newspaper and all. Definitely next class I will do. Yes, I don't want to stop this topic in between. So in another 30 minutes we will complete other outcomes like Rio Plus 10 and Rio Plus 20 conference summits within 15 to 20 minutes. Then we will discuss what are the questions asked. Okay, how the UPSC is asking question, that I will show you in online. Okay. So is it okay? Shall we wind up? Thank you. Thank you for those who are coming with video. See, and next one, Nagoya Protocol came into effect from 2014 or 14. Okay, the announcements, yes. See, what are the, this announcement for June 12th batch students. I hope all of you are staying back. See, with respect to newspaper reading, the same thing, whatever completed for the first batch, the same completed for you. Map reading, I think one class is pending for you. Next, Modern India, again one class they are ahead. The first batch is ahead. For first batch, we have completed 15 classes. For your batch, 14 classes. On international organization, same, nothing. Polity, 2 classes, they are ahead. First batch, they are ahead of 2 classes. Core economics, 3 classes. And bilateral relations, 2 classes. Economic terminologies, same. NCRT, same. And world history just now started. That is 2 classes we started, 3 classes. And 1 class we attended, 2 classes extra. And ancient India, 6 classes we have completed. So ancient India alone, it is completely new for you. So don't worry, we will give you alternate for that. Tomorrow we will discuss. Okay. So my kind request is, please you attend the weekend class as well as regular class for just 2 weeks, so that it will be compensated. You no need to worry. And after that you can continue with weekend batch. This is for only July 12th batch. Okay. So again, if you have any further doubt, please text me. I will explain. And tomorrow we will meet. Thank you. So any other doubt, please text me. Hand raise பண்ணிருக்காங்களா? Yes.
Yeah, sir.
Yes, please.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, few doubts regarding this International Convention of Combating Desertification. Is it related to Shagal in Africa or something else, sir?
Is it related to?
Shagal in Africa means that 4 countries in Northern America
Okay, not only Shagal, even India also. See, last year, first time in history, India hosted this COP of UNCCD. Okay, so
Okay.
not only meant for Sahel region, this is for entire arid and semi-arid region.
Okay, sir. And as you
Currently,
told, carbon credit and carbon trade. For example, it is a trade between two countries. Like
yes.
similarly, how the defense trade is happening between India and Russia.
Huh.
Okay,
Yes.
sir. That's all. Thanks.
Okay, okay. Karni, you requested whether recorded session of these classes will be provided via mail. Yes, definitely we will share recorded session. Don't worry. Can you also please give information on weekend and weekdays batch? Weekdays batch have 5 classes, where we have only 4. Yes, that's the reason. The weekend batch tenure is 1.5 months, almost 2 months extra. So weekday batch only 10 months. This is 12 months. So that one class will be compensated in under these 2 months.
சார்
Yes, please.
சார் இப்போ நம்ம இந்த பேட்ச்ல போயிட்டு இருக்கிறது தான் இனிமே எடுக்க போறீங்க வீக் டே பேட்ச்ல கரெக்டா சார்?
ஆமாங்க. see வீக்டே பேட்சும் இது ஆல்மோஸ்ட் சிமிலராக தான் போகும். இன்னும் ஒரு 2 to 3 months இப்படியே தான் போகும்.
ஓகே சார். ஓகே சார், அதான் சார் டவுட். தேங்க்யூ
Same
சார்.
will be introduced. Okay. Yes, please.
Sir, this is Archana.
Archana, yes, Archana.
Sir, you said a Paris climate deal is actually a voluntary agreement. So
Yes.
what did you mean by voluntary, sir? Whether targets were voluntary in the sense INDC or the deal
INDC
itself
is
was
voluntary.
voluntary?
See, the deal itself.
It means it's not binding.
Not binding. Paris Climate Deal is not at all binding. It is purely voluntary. See, if you want to take your own determined, if you want to contribute based on your own determination, you can contribute. No one will ask you. But problem is, within another 10 years, you have to save this planet. That's all.
So we have a time period for this, sir.
No time.
Decade.
The ultimate objective is, just imagine, I will show you one image. Just 1 minute. It's actually a very good image I found somewhere on internet. Yeah, this one. It's a really very good image. Okay, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Just first you see, okay, the dark gray is like 1 to 1.5 degree. The light gray is 1.5 degree to 2 degree. Then very light orange color, there is 2 to 3 degree. Then slightly more dark orange, 3 to 4 degree, and dark orange is 4 plus. Okay. Now this is the time period from 1990 to 2100. Here the likelihood of projected warming until 2100. So this is INDC. Okay, this is INDC. See, this number is global carbon dioxide emission from energy and industry. Okay, so how many tons? Okay, see, from 2020, if you accept Paris climate deal and if it is continued, it is mentioned like by 2050, exactly by 2050 to 60, we will cross 3 degrees centigrade. Average global average will cross 3 degrees centigrade. Okay, and if we take more strong measures, that is Paris climate and increased ambition, okay, if we take more this one, and by 2090 only we will reach 3 degree, okay, above 3. In case if Paris climate deal is not taking place, okay, if it is not implemented, then preference low policy, okay. In the situation, by 2060 itself, sorry, now itself immediately we will cross 3 degree, and by 2060 itself we will cross more than 4 degree. And if no policy at all, by 2040 itself we will cross more than 4 degree. So this is the situation. Okay, so it is purely on voluntary basis. So situation now almost it is out of control.
Sir, also, will you be also talking about non-governmental organizations such as traffic?
Non-governmental organizations. So with respect to this one, non-governmental organizations, to what extent they can play a role with respect to climate change? Because these are completely, it is in the hands of government.
No, sir, I'm asking regarding wildlife, we have traffic and certain important agreements like sky.
It's governmental organization only, no? See, non-governmental organizations, they can play a role, but not that much. They can play, there's a scope, but they cannot play like government.
Okay, sir, that's it. Thank you.
Yes. So KCT students, they asked some question in WhatsApp. Any other question? Yeah. Okay. So what about Kumaraguru College students? We attended all batch 1 classes till Friday. How will out timetable? So you Kumaraguru students, if you want, you can continue in weekend batch, or if you want to continue in regular, you can continue. It is up to you. At least for the 3 weeks, that will be same. Okay. Next, any other message? Sir, will we attend both weekday and weekend class? I am from July 12th batch. For Modern India completed only till 1857. Yes, so you can attend with the regular batches also, no problem. Sir, about receipt. What do you mean? Sir, about receipt means what? It's about CSET classes. I have been enrolled weekend CSET classes, which starts from today. And receive the Zoom meeting ID via mail, but attended class by receiving mail ID from friend. So definitely you will send it. Actually, Shruti is not feeling well for past 2-3 days. But see, from next week you will get properly. Receive receipt and see those who have not received receipt, please send mail to Greta, madam, and she will give you receipt. Okay, otherwise you can send mail to me also. Definitely, he will help you, and by end of this week you will get receipt. Okay, all of you will get receipt. Okay, anything else? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, and I think next class we will discuss about how to approach preliminary. So from my perspective, I will share some strategies like how to, and next one we will discuss about newspaper reading briefly. Just within maximum 15 minutes, I will show you for 20 questions minimum from 2019 paper, and we will discuss all these topics. I hope you are comfortable, and if you have any issue, please you send mail. Definitely we will address. So you can take my mail ID, Chandrasekhar, CHANDRA SEKAR, Chandrasekhar, CHANDRA SEKAR .s at shankarias.in. SHANKAR, Shankar, not SA. SHANKAR, shankarias.in. Okay, so if you have any issue, any grievance with respect to our academic part, if you have any grievances, please inform me. Definitely we will address. Okay, your satisfaction is very important for us. Thank you. Have a great day.